A lot of these places that are just trying to churn through materials, they'll literally, I mean, there's one entire thing. What they do is they put a giant, they blow up this tube underground. They build the whole pile on top of it. Then they cover the entire pile with a door bag. And then what they do is force air into it. It's called forced aeration static piles. They force the air into it, but with this bag covered that allows the volatiles to gas off. And it's just kind of this force, this quick composition process, and they churn everything up and sell it down the road.
See that big old black long
So,
Yeah.
what you get there again comes back to this idea of the living soil, right? You can find everything you need at GNC, but nothing's alive.
Little twisted deal in
And
there.
that's what comes down to the difference between having something that has nitrogen versus something that has plants available.
the calcium pile.
The more and more you churn through something and spit it out, it might have nitrogen in it, but it's not plant available yet, because it's not matured or it's not stabilized. Okay, so adding something that's immature or unstable, it's like the word sounds, right? It's immature, it's unstable. Those aren't the kind of people you want to hang out with,
I like
right?
the shirt.
Okay, unless you know it's your neighbor.
First.
So you've got, if you think about some of those things, those can also kind of affect the health of the plant. You can't say that an immature compost causes this, but if it's not as comfortable for it, it can lead to other things. So if it goes back to that first point I made about understanding and recognizing the difference between symptoms and problems in your yard, you know, and you see what those symptoms are, you look to address some of the underlying problems. And so the underlying problems is you just want really, really good, healthy approach to your soil. And understand that, you know, what goes in is what's going to come out. One form or another, whether you're, you know, a cow or a microbe or a soil or a tomato plant. Yeah, what else? Let's do questions, talk.
Is there any certain type of cardboard that you should look out for when you're in the soil?
I don't use stuff that's like really, you know, you don't want something with a lot of ink on it or a lot of tape on it or processed or anything like that. I'll just take boxes and just kind of tear them up and sort of throw them in. Yeah, yeah, but it's just, yeah, egg cartons are good too. Again, the thing with cardboard, you got to remember it's a good source of carbon, but
I just want to know if there was any certain type of cardboard.
So it comes back to this idea of just
anything you wanted to avoid more than anything.
in your home composting. You know, in drier areas, sometimes the moisture people leave a sprinkler pile. Goes back. Remember I mentioned that you can make a 5-gallon batch of tea. You got some tea left over, so you spray your plants. You got another gallon and a half left in the bucket. Throw it in the
We're the crew, man.
Just kind of get everybody sort of
Who wants to hit the party?
fired up and geared up.
Can you smoke in here?
For most
I know,
plants,
About these old people be like, yeah, man, herb out.
unless you're growing in a
There's that old hippie guy in the glasses over there. He'd be like, yeah, let's get some of this.
He's had his fair share of that.
Just keep going and going and going in the backyard. Just unless it's a heavy feeder and you have to come in with
Pull
something
that soda
else,
out of that smoke in the back of the
it just
room.
goes.
Yeah, pretty cool.
You know, and
Please do that.
you can grow pretty much. Well, you can. You can grow anything with just the potting soil and compost and compost tea. Doesn't mean other things would be better. Yeah.
First, do you want to dechlorinated water?
Yes. Great point. I always tell people, you know, if you got 100 billion microorganisms in here, 5 billion die off, you still got 95 billion, right? I'm happy with that. Most municipalities that treat with chlorine, chlorine's a gas and a gas off. It's just a great general rule of thumb. Anytime you water your plants, fill your watering cans or your bucket or whatever again. So by the time you go to water next time, that water's already been sitting for a day or 2 days, depending on your frequency. And that means the chlorine's just gassed off. So it's always just a good rule of thumb with the tea, the water with the tea, fill it, let it sit, let the water get, you know, chlorine gas off, and then, you know, make your tea. Rainwater is great. The only problem,
As long as it's not illegal in your state.
Right here.
I know.
as opposed to chlorine, which doesn't gas off.
I think if you use it to water your plants, it should be okay.
They can, yeah, although sometimes you lose a bunch of water doing that. If you want to get particular, a lot of times you can go to like a pet food store, and they've got some little drops. I think it's to store the acid or something like that, but it's little drops you can put in that's supposed to remove the chloramine. Yeah, yeah, they've got stuff too already for water. One thing I don't know, I have no idea scientifically, but I've heard a couple of people tell me that what they do if they've got water treated with chloramine is they'll just take some compost, or like, you know, I get the powder from this compost that's falling out here, you know, whatever it is, they'll throw some in the water and stir it and leave it for several hours, and then they'll start making their teas. So I don't know if that's sort of the sacrificial lamb approach to brewing tea with chloramine. I don't know. I have no idea. But
Feed it all before you give it.
well, if it's in there, it's in there. You know, if it can get out, it can get out. So, one other just thing going back to the water and the stirring of the water. And this is everything that you kind of heard me say. You know, Steiner talked a lot about this stuff in 1924, and just people thought it was a nutcase, and some people thought it was the absolute gospel. And that's the problem of using the word spiritual or natural anytime. It's like all of a sudden now the audience goes into two camps, you know. And, you know, the hippie ladies get really excited that I mentioned the word spiritual, and a bunch of guys stand up and walk away, you know. So, but it's this idea, you know, we talked about some of that stuff, and that's what I love is, you know, 85 years later, science has been able to explain a lot of what he was talking about. You know, when he talked about that skeleton food, it's empty of that essential life that mankind needs. Well, now we can actually measure nutrient density. That's why you'll hear people say, oh, you have to eat 17 tomatoes today to equal the amount of nutrients found in one tomato in the 1900s, you know. So nutrient density, a lot of these relationships between specific enzymes and substances in the body and how it makes you feel is great. You know, here's an example of how our culture's got so out of tune is we identify more with medicine than we identify more with nature. So oftentimes if I'm doing a talk with PowerPoint, this is when I show the slide, there's the headlines from the New York Times that says, is gardening the new Prozac? Because people understand Prozac because that's the society we live in. They're like, is gardening the... Science shows, you know, that gardening will make you feel better. Right? I can go grab any 10 ladies out here and say, what do you feel like when you walk out of your house and into your garden? Who here doesn't feel better when you go outside and hang out with your plants? You just like, I'm just gonna hang here for a minute, you know? I've come home from work and gone into the backyard with my plants and stood there, and like an hour and a half later, my kid comes out and says, we can eat dinner. I'm like, I'm sorry, just, you know, just hanging in the backyard, you know. I feel loved, no one's talking back to me, or no one's giving me a hard time. I feel guilty if I forgot to water somebody, right? But is gardening the new Prozac?
There's a big difference between outdoor and indoor.
Right? And people identify, and it's sad that they identify more with
Yeah, basically.
related to Prozac than you have related to just human nature. We're being
Outdoor produces more, but it's less quality.
animals, right? We love a symbiotic relationship with all living things going on around us.
Well, I mean, the sun's great for making tissue
And that's just kind of inherent.
stuff that's a few weeks the sun. It melts in the sun.
Hey,
You know
that's
what I'm
what
saying?
So,
It
one thing I
burns
was
up, it
saying
gets too big and goes,
about water, and this is
you know?
interesting. You can bubble your water, that adds oxygen. When I say you want to
That
stir
would be the way
it,
to go.
right, obviously you stir it, that adds oxygen. But I'll tell you
Well, we got
this,
those, like, big
and
ones
you
right
can get
here.
up and walk
They're
away.
diffused. So it won't burn your THC.
There's something
And you still
very,
get hell out
very
for lumens.
unique
And then if you add
about
supplemental
how you
lighting,
stir.
boom.
And there's
You
a
get the quality
difference
and the quantity.
between
I know,
putting
me too.
pumping and bubbling it with air
This
versus
is exactly
stirring.
what I want to build one of these days.
I don't know
I'm
why,
working on property
but a
right
lot
now
of it
just
comes
so I
down to
can
the
build
energy.
this thing.
And there's a couple of things. One is,
Free glass sliding
and I
doors.
always say this about biodynamics. Biodynamics, we're talking about how things work on a biological level,
This one's got the roof
and we're
panels
talking
open.
about how things
For
work on a
motors,
dynamic
crankers.
level. Dyno is force.
Open it up.
So what's the life and the force? So water.
I like the ones that
When we
freaking
stir water,
got
first
the
thing
little
I'm
deal
trying to
that
do is
comes open
stir
and
it and get it
closes.
going in a vortex.
becomes light and dark.
Vortex, it's increasing the surface area of the water. So on a biological level, I'm increasing the surface area of the water. I'm adding more oxygen, right up there. But vortex is also one of the most natural rhythms that occurs in nature. If you go out to the healthiest creeks and rivers and mountains and streams, you see water cascade over the rocks and it'll spin in a vortex, right? It'll cascade some more. That's how water's getting blocked. So with stirring though, and that's why you'll see now, you can even go buy a brewer called the Vortex brewer that stirs it in a vortex, which is great. But there's another element to living water, and that is adding the chaos. So when I always tell people to stir, you want to stir in one direction, get a vortex and a quick rhythm going, and then immediately change directions and go the other way. When you change directions, you add that chaos element. And that's how water naturally flows. It flows through rivers and creeks, and it funnels into this, this vortex, and then there's a chaos, an implosion. And then it spins again, and there's an implosion, right? And so the one thing missing from the vortex brewer, there's only one other brewer on the market that's figured it out. It's called rhythmic implosion brewer, but it's looking to create this vortex to the point where it creates this implosion, and then spins the other way and implodes. So that act of stirring the water, not only the energy that you're putting into it, which is a huge component, but sort of trying to mimic the way that water works in nature, has a profound effect. And to make sure it's not a placebo effect, there has been research done. I mean, I have a good friend who works in the central coast, and he's done it with taking just irrigation water out of the ditch in California, and the difference between watering with the irrigation water, which is filthy, and watering with the same irrigation water that's just been stirred for 20 minutes. Completely different outcome. It's just something about sort of enlivening the water and working with the water. So that's always one to throw out there because, hey, if we've been able to explain everything else, there's something we can't quite explain. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Huh? There's some, I do it with school kids too. I'll have 25 kids and we'll do a workshop on composting. I line them up in a single file line, right? I tell the first kid, stir the water. 10 seconds this way, change directions. 10 seconds this way, back of the line. Next kid, right? Stir them up. And then I wait until the first kid comes back in the line. It's a natural ecosystem.
Who knows
right?
how much I lost.
Look at the Serengeti, right? The lion eats everybody, and they eat everybody, and they eat everything. It's just incredible symbiotic rhythm.
I gotta figure out that setting.
I'll find it. Imagine if we just went through the Serengeti with a tornado and threw everything out of,
it's like
it's on took your whole ecosystem and shook it up. So
batteries that power save.
Put that in. I want to just try and let it sit as much as possible. I screen the file at the very end, but I'm desperately trying to allow the soil structure to forward. So if you use my compost and your plant goes nuts, okay, and you see a couple little clovers that might pop up around it, you didn't plant the clover, okay? So if you call me and you'd be like, I got some clover in the garden, where'd that come from? It came from the farm. And if you got a problem with a couple clovers sprouting up, go buy somebody else's problem, okay? Because that's what happens. I have a big pile of compost and it's outside on a farm and something blows around and a weed seed lands on the top of it. This is luxury living for a weed seed, right? And you don't get any better. It's like stumbling into, the Waldorf Astoria. I'm gonna live here, right? I got food, I got bellhops, I got everything taken care of, right? And I don't want to keep churning it up and sterilize and kill because I want that structure. So it's a delicate balance we have on the production side between really trying to let the soil sit and form as much structure. So those microbial colonies, because the bacteria moves in, the fungi move in, there's all these relationships that are built in the soil. And I try to disrupt that, as little as possible.
And then, like after you, brew your tea and everything, do you use that fuel for that? Like pop it in or plants and
Yeah, or I just throw it in the compost pile, or just scoop a hole and throw it in, and it just eats away, it's gone.
Yeah. Throw it in there, like.
Yeah. One of the common questions is, can I reuse the tea bag? If you soaked it again, you could probably squeeze it and get some more minerals and nutrients and trace minerals out of it. But the problem, you're not getting the life. Because remember, all these living microorganisms, you woke them up, right? You gave them air, you got them all fired up, they're wide awake, you put the tea in the garden, you let everybody loose. So all the microorganisms left in here have already been awakened. They have no food. So if you soak it in water again, they have no food, so they're going to die off. So you're not going to get those living microorganisms on the second use. But if you throw it in your garden, they're going to go find food and they're going to be happy. So single-use tea bags. And if you soak it overnight in the bucket, if you go home and get all excited, drop it in the bucket tonight, and completely forget about it tomorrow, that's okay. You know, just stir it up and use it the following day. You know, we tell everybody soak it overnight. There's this incredible nursery in Newport Beach. It's one of the most beautiful nurseries on the West Coast. It's right on par with Walking. I'd say both you guys are in the top 5. Rogers Garden. It's incredible. And their head guy there, Dave, he is a zealot about our tea. But he swears on soaking it for 3 days and then stir and use it. And he just insists that soaking it for 3 days is the absolute best thing. So I don't tell you that because I think it's the absolute best thing. I just tell you that because if you soak it for 3 days and you meant to do it for 1, it's okay. That's what Dave does. And it works great. Okay, but inherently it's just easy. Work backwards. Drop it in water if you know you'll use it the next day and just stir it. Keep going. Yeah. Yeah. They do. That's great. And actually, that's what's changed in the market. For the last 18 months, companies have been allowed to phase out. They've been given a grace period of calling products that aren't compost, calling them compost. Yeah, so there are a lot of the names are changing. Some of the bigger companies like E.B. Stone, they've changed everything on the West Coast. Some of the local brands, you know, if they sell in Washington and Washington's not forcing them to make the same change, but they don't sell in Oregon or California, they might not make the same change. You know, so you might find something here that's they call compost, they're allowed to call compost, but they don't have to monitor all the temperatures and the germs and everything else like that. But that's why I say, if you ever think about it on a fertility level, the compost is much more like on par with worm castings. It is a fertilizer in that it's all about fertility. And it's just sad that, you know, fertilizers kind of become the F word of the soil industry. Because it just has this connotation that it's fertilizer, it's some kind of manufactured synthetic line or something or other. But if you go, yeah, but if you go back to that fundamental idea that it's really about fertility, soil fertility and nutrition. Yeah.
This is my last question. So foliars can spray at night. Like in our area, like
Kenny, what line?
Put moisture on our at night because our moisture levels are better. So does the foliar spray like is that not going to affect that?
No, I mean, tomatoes are the ones that are like the most finicky about getting extra moisture on their leaves, but they love the tea. They love the tea. You don't need to excessively
Tomatoes, you got nothing on the finicky
I
unless in
recommend
the can of
against
this plant.
tomatoes until you see
Yeah,
fruit
you
come.
find out what day
I think tea is
yeah.
phenomenal in tomatoes to be watered in, but right when you see fruit come out, and I mean that's like, you know, $15, you're making 20 gallons of tea. You take the compost, you soak it in water, and you spray it on the leaves. All the nutrients and
I'm the
minerals
fan.
are
Pull the
commuting
fan out.
from the
Only
leaf
3 days
to the
of
fruit.
it's
They got a
covered.
3-inch
Crap.
commute
Now I gotta
instead
try
of,
to save
you know,
it
a
so I
3
can
or 4 foot.
I mean, I'm only
They
growing
don't have to
seeds,
battle
so I'm not
their
growing
way
any more seeds
competitively
really.
through everything as garden.
Other place.
So,
Yeah.
and then adding those minerals and those nutrients, helps this incredible flavor profile. So that's why you'll see a lot of organic and
What sucks is
biodynamic
I'm gonna kill
vineyards right when the
pollen. I
grapes
was
start
just about
coming
to
out.
harvest.
You'll see them in the morning. They drive the tractor
But I
between
got
the
some
vines.
more. I already have
big
a
thing
big
spraying
can of it,
up
so
underneath. You're
whatever.
spraying compost tea up on the leaves, and those extra minerals and those nutrients are what create such an incredible flavor profile in the grapes and the fruits. And then
I'm
also,
just trying to ask him what the difference on the bags are.
About those guys?
Yeah.
This one's just straight compost. This is just straight compost.
Yeah.
The other one, like the one I showed you, has kelp and castings on it. So the other one has
I was trying to ask so I could get it on film.
it does in that it's not like it's coating leaves or
Somebody
something,
eventually
but
got it
like I
there.
said before,
He
compost
doesn't
tea
talk about
is
squeezing
built
the
in
bags
cell
for
walls
more
of
potency
plants.
either.
So
Yeah.
Squeeze the bags.
strong cell walls.
Oh no, he did talk about squeezing them out. Squeezing them out.
basket, I could buy plants.
Get all that stuff on.
So like white flies, that's what they love.
So bag rips and
You know, and powder
15, 20
mildew is
squeezes,
similar
about
to that,
right.
but it's more about treating the plant's immune system
add
and allowing the
50 other things to
plant to
brew
fend
it.
it off on its own. So, like I said, it goes back to the sniffles analogy. You take vitamin C, you take
way
some
over time
echinacea,
now.
and some multivitamins,
Yeah, he's getting
you
up,
build
going
your
over
immune
a bit.
system, your sniffles go away. You're less likely, to get the sniffles when the weather changes. So it's the same kind of idea with the plants, the foliage. You're supposed to do that too. The plant's own immune system.
I have to go bike riding, and now I can feel it in the back of my
To fend off. You're giving it some of the tools that it might need. And it really, the other way that I say it is, easiest way to explain is all the beneficial bacteria and fungi just come in and just want to kick the snot out of all the harmful bacteria and fungi. So it's just full on war. It's like, my fungi is better than your fungi. Anything else?
I got one. This is more or less what the end over there. What's the difference between regular biodynamic, the rose, and the tomato?
In both the rose and tomato, we added a little bit of worm castings and kelp because they both, want a little more fungal balance. Our compost is phenomenal bacterial diversity, unlike anything else, with really good fungal diversity. But that's where a little bit of worm castings helps, boost up the fungal diversity. So castings and kelp is one main difference on the package. And then what you don't see on the package is we wanted to do something a little fun with the biodynamic side. So with the rose tea, we added very high dosage of the stinging nettle. So the stinging nettle prep is something that's used in the compost pile. But when we make the rose tea, what we do is we take the stinging nettle, harvested prep, it's already composted and fermented, and then we'll make a liquid tea out of that, and then we'll spray the compost that's going to go into that bag with that stinging nettle tea. And it comes out of just this research that shows that stinging nettle inherently wants to grow near roses. There's something about they both are like thorny and prickly, but they both have this kind of symbiotic fertility relationship. And then the tomato tea, there's one of the biodynamic preps that is not put in the compost, but it's used, it's called 508, and it comes from the horsetail plant. Not the horsetail that you're familiar with that looks like bamboo, that grows everywhere and it's hard to get rid of. But there's another species of it, the equisetum, called the equisetum arvens, which is a flowery, looks more kind of like a fern. Okay? And the equisetum arvens is a plant that can grow and thrives in really wet, marshy areas. So it thrives in growing where there's a lot of these wet, marshy, fungal type conditions. It loves it. So what's done is the leaves from that equisetum are harvested, then they're completely dried out, and then that's taken and aged, and then it's boiled for 20 minutes in a tea. And then we use that